Enriqueta Marti was a Spanish child killer, serial kidnapper, and child pimp who prostituted dismembered little children for use in black magic rituals and also prostituted them to the highest echelons of Barcelona's elite. She is also known as the Vampire of Barcelona. She became a prostitute very early in life and went out of her way to accommodate clients with a taste for children. Just as establishment figures today are accused of this wicked and evil behaviour, there has always been evil people like Enriqueta Marti to accommodate the darkest and most sadistic desires of people with the money to pay for them. To get her hands on the children she needed, she dressed as a beggar during the day and begged at houses of charity. Enriqueta was leading a double life. When she was begging at houses of charity, she would look out for children who looked the most abandoned, the most poorest, and the most destitute. She would select these children and take them by the hand, promising them good food and sweets if they came with her, and instructing the children to call her stepmother or mother. When she got them back, she prostituted them in her brothel. She prostituted children between the ages of 9 months and 9 years. When her clients were sick of the children or she'd had her use or fill of them, she killed them, usually with a knife, dismembered the body parts, and drained the blood and fat from the bodies. She would powder the bones with a claw hammer, and she would use these as filters in black magic remedies, usually for the treatment of tuberculosis, but more often to prevent aging and prolong life. A lot of Barcelona's elite and richest people believed that drinking the blood of children and using black magic remedies made from the parts of children could prevent aging and prolong their life. So Enriqueta Marti was leading a double life. On the one hand, she prostituted the children, and on the other, she killed them and used the parts to make black magic remedies for people who wanted them. Enriqueta Marti was in operation for over 20 years. Hundreds of children passed through her hands, and yet, because of her connections with the highest elites of Spain, she was never ever tried. When a little girl called Teresita Guitart went missing in 1909, this would be the start of Enriqueta Marti's downfall, although ultimate justice would be denied. Teresita Guitart went missing in 1909, and because of the hundreds of missing children that the authorities had been extremely passive about investigating, there was great public indignation, and due to public protest, the police were forced to take a more proactive stance. One of Enriqueta Marti's neighbours saw the little girl, who had had her hair cut off in an attempt to disguise her, looking out of the window of 29 Mezzanine, flat number Mezzanine 29 in Barcelona. The flat was owned by none other than Enriqueta Marti. When the policemen entered, 2 little girls were found in the flat. One of them was Teresita Guitart. The other was a little girl called Angelita, who was 5. After making a statement, Teresita was returned to her parents. She explained how Enriqueta Marti took her by the hand, promising her sweets and candies, forced her down a back alley, covered her head with a black hood, and forced her into the flat. She then cut the little girl's hair off and changed her name to Felicidad, telling the child she no longer had parents and was to call her mother from then on. Enriqueta Marti fed the children potatoes and stale bread, and preferred to pinch rather than beat the children, as bruises on the children would significantly lower their value in the eyes of the clients. She was in the habit of leaving the little girls alone, and that one day they risked exploring the rooms, and in one of the rooms they found a sack with girls' clothes covered in blood and a boning knife covered in blood. Angelita's declaration was more frightening. Angelita had been with Enriqueta Marti for 5 years, so she knew significantly more than Teresita. Angelita said that many children had been in the flat of Enriqueta Marti. In particular, there was a 5-year-old boy called Pepito, and Angelina said she secretly saw Marti, who she was calling Mum, kill him on the kitchen table with a knife. During the second inspection of the flat, detectives found the sack with the bloody clothing and a knife. They also found another sack with dirty clothes covered in blood with at least 30 small human bones. Some of the bones showed evidence of being exposed to fire. They also found a lounge sumptuously decorated with expensive furniture, with a cupboard with expensive nice clothes for both a boy and a girl. These children's clothes and the lounge contrasted with the rest of the flat, which was dirty, smelled bad, and was in very, very bad condition. In another locked room, they found the horrors that Marti was attempting to hide. In it, there were 50 pitchers, jars, wash bowls with preserved human remains, greasy lard, human fat, coagulated blood, children's hair, powdered skeletons, skeletons of hands, powdered bones, and pots with the potions, ointments, salves, and filters already prepared for sale. Investigators also went to 2 more flats where Enriqueta had lived. In both of them, they found false walls and human remains in the walls and ceilings. They found the skulls of a 3-year-old child and series of bones that corresponded to 3, 6, and 8-year-old children. The remains had pieces of clothes whose conditions indicated that Marti had habitually kidnapped children of impoverished families with insufficient means to look for their missing children. They also found an ancient black magic book, a book of notes where she had written recipes in blood, and a package of letters and notes written in coded language, and her famous little black book. Her little black book contained the names of the highest names of Spanish elite society. Just as the elite society of today is accused of this wicked and evil behaviour, there has always been people like Enriqueta Marti to service these disgusting needs. Enriqueta Marti was imprisoned in the Reina Amelia jail to await trial. She tried to commit suicide but could not do it, and public indignation exploded because the people wanted her to face trial and execution by the garrote. Prison authorities made it known in the press that measures had been taken to ensure that Enriqueta would not be able to kill herself. Enriqueta Marti was never tried for her crimes. She died a year and 3 months after her arrest at the hands of her prison mates. She was lynched in the prison yard, hung from the prison yard window. As she slowly strangled to death, ultimate justice was denied, as a lot of people believe that the inmates were paid by the clients of Enriqueta Marti, so the details of her crimes would never be made public in a public trial. However, her death certificate gave suicide as the cause of death. Enriqueta Marti's lynching at the hands of her prison mates may have been justice in one sense and a deserved death, but in another sense it robbed authorities of the opportunity to completely expose all of her secrets, and more importantly, the people who were paying for the children and the black magic remedies that she was creating. She was buried secretly in a common grave, the location of which has never been disclosed. During interrogation, Enriqueta Marti claimed to be a healer with knowledge of natural remedies and that the human pieces and parts had been left there by other people. But she was clearly unable to refute the bloody clothes, the knife, the pieces of parts, the fresh fat, the blood, the bones, and the testimony of the two children that were in her possession. It was clear to the police, and remains clear to this day, that Enriqueta Marti was an evil, wicked woman, using innocent children as a means to make money in the most heinous and disgusting manner. The legend of Enriqueta Marti, the vampire of Barcelona, has been used in many films and in many books and works of fiction. However, the true story of her evil deeds is much blacker and stranger than fiction. This is evil behaviour, wicked and evil behaviour, and there was no justice in her lifetime, and there will be no justice since. This is Filthy Ketchup. Thank you for listening. Stay safe out there. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, Filthy Ketchup. If you like true crime, I will be releasing 2 videos every week. Thank you for listening. Stay safe. Bye.